We're here talking to rural development and all the people that matter about what's going on at Orangeburg, Bamberg, and all the surrounding areas, Calhoun County included. Harvey Elwood, 93.7, the People's Station. We've got transportation and communications all here at South Carolina State University. Transportation, communication, forward movement, broadband, transport, it all works together. Current administration is doing some great things. We want to thank you for inviting us to talk to you, Dr. Conyers, and of course, Dr. Glover, and of course, Commissioner. Talk to us about the day, if you will.
Today's an exciting day for the students at all HBCUs in South Carolina. We've got them all together here in one location with 8 different federal agencies that will explain to them the different opportunities that exist within the federal government as well as state agencies as well. So this is an exciting time, and it's not just for folks who think transportation. You know, they're being very deliberate and intentional about including all students from all different degrees to be a part of this process over the next 2 days. So we're really excited.
Now, Dr. Glover, did you go to school here?
I am a proud graduate of South Carolina State University.
You're now the commissioner for USDA here in this area?
In the state of South Carolina.
And you're just here to support South Carolina State and the programs you've done?
It's all, like you said, it's all relevant.
And all the way from Washington, D.C., how important is this for you to be here?
Well, we're glad to be with the students here. They want access, just like we were talking about access to high-speed internet earlier, access to high-quality jobs and to transportation and movement. All those people are critical, and as South Carolina State grows and expands, these types of days are really important.
Thank you all so very much. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Good afternoon again. One team, one fight. What an amazing morning we had with senior administrators from across the country spending time here this morning at South Carolina State University with students from all of the HBCUs in South Carolina. And as I said this morning, these administrators, these senior administrators, can find diversity at PWIs. But they did not do that. They were intentional about being here in Orangeburg, giving you the time and opportunity to speak with them one-on-one, to take your resumes, to provide interview sessions with you, and for a few of you to give you a job today or tomorrow. I just want to recap just some of the things you may have heard this morning. I know a few of our administrators talked about not just the careers with the federal government, but they talked about TSP. And they use those acronyms like many of our students understand what they are. But TSP is the thrift saving plan that allows you to save your money out of your paycheck, and the government and your agency contribute to that fund. And at least 2 African American females stood where I'm at this morning and told you, because of their career with the federal government and TSP, they are millionaires. Where are those 2 young ladies? I need to talk to you. Where are the millionaires at? Again, please stand up. There were 2 of them. The one's in the back, thank you, ma'am, for admitting it, and there were 2. And there were several others just didn't speak about it, but that's just one opportunity. The bottom line is all of these agencies here, 8 federal agencies, they're here with one mission today, and that's to save lives. But we need your help. We need young minds. You know better than we do what are distractions for you all. You know driving patterns and things like that. When I was in college, I just had to, flip in a cassette player, and that was it. And the congressman thought I had an 8-track in his car probably. But today there's just so much more. Just last weekend, South Carolina State was in Atlanta for a football game. And my daughter, who's a junior in college, was hanging out with some of her friends from Morehouse College in Atlanta. Monday night, 2 of those friends she was hanging out with died in a traffic accident in Atlanta. That same day in Atlanta, 5 teenagers died in a traffic accident. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. Many of you have been affected by losing loved ones through traffic accidents. So we want your expertise. We want you to join these agencies. And I wish I had known there were other ways to serve our country, because maybe I would have chosen a different path than serving in Iraq, Afghanistan, Cuba, jumping out of airplanes, people shooting after me. So again, these are great opportunities for you today. I want to remind those of you, especially our visiting students, you will have an opportunity here on campus soon as we begin construction on the Clyburn Transportation Center. For those students who may not be aware, here at South Carolina State University, we also offer a master's degree in transportation. You heard earlier from the Federal Motors Carrier Safety Administration. Thanks to them, we are now conducting a $1.3 million grant safety survey and trying to reduce traffic accidents with commercial vehicles. So what you heard today is for you to explore the opportunities. And remember, sometimes you have to go to grow. I want to thank all of the senior leaders again for being here. Mr. Burke, thank you for being here. Dr. Glover, thank you so much for being here representing rural development and rural utilities. Thank you so very much. As I told you earlier, the jobs are out there, but you may have to travel someplace other than South Carolina to receive that job. You may have to go to grow. At this time, I will introduce Mr. Mims, who will introduce our loyal son, Congressman James Clyburn. But as I talk about these HBCUs, several HBCUs was represented today with senior administrators. You heard senior administrators from Clark Atlanta, Morgan State, South Carolina State, Benedict, all represented here today. If you didn't hear your school call today, then I want you, within the next couple of years, to be a part of that. And before we introduce the congressman, who needs no introduction to those of us here at South Carolina State, I do want to recognize the students here from South Carolina State who are a part of the Emily E. Clyburn Honors College, named after the Congressman's late great wife. Please honor college students, James E. Clyburn Scholars. Please stand. Honors College. Thank you very, very much. At this time, it gives me a great honor to introduce Mr. Bradley Mims.
When I got notice about this event, the first person's hand who went up to say that they were going to attend this event was not. And I wanted to make sure that I got here. It's the number 3 person in the hierarchy in the Democratic caucus in the U.S. House of Representatives. As we go forward, I don't need to go through all of this paper side area. You guys have the best representative in the United States Congress. And I just want to tell you, as far as I'm concerned, as far as Secretary Buttigieg is concerned, we're going to make that and can make sure that whatever is requested and whatever we plan to do going forward for this congressional district for the state of South Carolina, that Jim Clyburn is going to make sure that that happens as we go forward. So, Mr. Clyburn, come on forward.
Thank you very, very much. Thank you, Brad. I appreciate your friendship over the years, and thank you so much for coming to my alma mater, making this your second stop in South Carolina. And thank you so much for your tremendous work over the years in the administration of our federal bureaucracy. Thank you very, very much. Let me thank Curtis Thomas. So good to see you again. I had not seen you in a while. I'm glad to know that you're here at my alma mater, trying to help us get to where we need to be in this great program. Dr. Conyers, thank you for the visionary leadership you're giving to my alma mater, which is also your alma mater. Thank you so much for that as well. And to the policy makers, the board of trustees, the members of the board, I see at least one here. Thank you for being here as well. And the visitors and friends of this great institution. Thank all of you. To the students who are here, thanks to you. This program involves all 8 of the HBCUs here in South Carolina. And of the 8, I am pleased to represent in the United States Congress 7 of them. And I am pleased to be here today to be a part of this program. We thank Dr. Glover, Administrator Burke, for your commitment to doing that which is needed to get this part of the United States government or United States as a nation moving in the right direction in a much better way. Now, I noticed I'm on the program to do a keynote. I've never really understood exactly what a keynote is. But I just want to talk to you for a little bit about the future of this country, the future of you as students in this great country. I'm going to leave all the technical stuff about transportation up to all these experts who are here. I'm not an expert in transportation, but I want to share with you some few experiences that I hope will be of some assistance in helping you navigate through whatever it is that you are planning to do. I neglected to mention my friend Albert Brown, who's here now. It's kind of interesting to help us do what needs to be done. So I want to thank the 2 of them for bringing their vision to Washington. When I got elected in Congress in 95 years, now that made my election noteworthy to a lot of people. And so the leadership of the state decided that rather than wait for me to be quietly sworn in up in Washington, they wanted to have a mock, I would call it mock, but a sort of honorary swearing in here in South Carolina, in Columbia. And so we gathered there for that ceremony. And as I was waiting for the ceremony to begin, the gentleman came up to me and he congratulated me on having been elected. And then he said to me, he said, now when you get up there, I want you to get on the agriculture committee. I thought that was fine. Then another gentleman came up and he congratulated me. He said, now when you get up there, I want you to get on the defense committee. I thought that was fine. All of that had to do with the protection of our great country. But I had done a lot of study, a lot of research on what I thought needed to be done in order to be an effective representative of my congressional district in Washington. And what I found at the time, that South Carolina's economy was being driven by two T's: textiles and tobacco. But I knew enough about what I had studied to know that textiles and tobacco would not be the future of South Carolina. I knew that there were also two T's in our future: tourism and transportation. I knew that those would be the two T's that I needed to focus on. Yes, I'm going to do everything I can for defense. I want to do everything I can for agriculture. As we doing earlier this morning over in Bamberg, where we are using that part of the infrastructure bill to do what needs to be done in the Department of Agriculture. But what's important to the future of this state is for us to recognize how these things come together. For instance, tourism is South Carolina's #1 industry. That's it. It's #1. There are a lot of things happening in South Carolina. But I want to say to you that tourism cannot exist in a productive way unless we cure our transportation problems. So transportation going forward is going to be key. And so when it came time for me to get on my committees, I made a call to a friend who is no longer with us, a guy named Butler Derrick. Butler Derrick was a congressman in the 3rd Congressional District. He was a part of the leadership in Washington. He was a deputy. I went on to become the majority whip. He was a deputy whip. So I called Butler around 11 o'clock the evening before the committee that make all these decisions was going to meet. I had been working and I wasn't getting nowhere fast. I called Butler around 11 o'clock in the evening. I remember it like it was yesterday. I can tell you exactly where I was standing when I made the call to him. And I told him that I wanted to be on what was then the Public Works Committee. It's now called Transportation and Infrastructure. But at the time, it was the Public Works Committee. So I want to be on this committee. And I know that you are on the committee that makes all the decisions. Well, Butler says, why didn't you call me earlier? I said, well, I just need to call you before the meeting is here. And him and Hard, but then I remind Butler that when he was in the state legislature and I was sitting in the governor's office, there are a few things he wanted the governor to do that he came to me to ask for my help. And I reminded him that in every one of those instances, he got my help. Because I have not been to you for anything yet. I'm looking for you to remember that I helped you when you needed it. I need you now. Well, The meetings were held the next day, and when the meetings were over, I was on the transportation, and then the Now, I'll tell you that little story for several reasons. No matter who you are, no matter how smart you may be, I don't care how much money you may have, in order to be successful, start building your relationships now while on the campuses of your colleges and universities, whichever they might be. I had great difficulty getting from Santee, South Carolina to Bamberg, less than 50 miles away. Tourism becomes more effective and efficient. That means that a better future is going to be there for people that do. That means that this hour trip will be 45 minutes when it's all said and done. And as I just said to one of our experts here, as we talked about how this money is going to be spent, and we know that there's going to be 5 years of money being poured into these communities. She says to me, it's going to take us 10 years to get it spent. That means for the next 10 years, this infrastructure bill that we're trying to spend billions and billions of dollars are going to be providing a future for those of you who have decided to make transportation your future, who have decided to make a living in this field. It's a great choice that you made. Let's do the things that are necessary to start building the relationships right now in order to help you get to where you want to be and where you need to be. Because South Carolina is going to be critical in all of this. And let me tell you how critical. We got 50 states and you have 6 territories. Of those 50 states that's getting money out of this infrastructure bill, one are the big media. One has done a study. And would you believe that study says that out of this infrastructure bill, South Carolina, as they rank the states that will benefit, South Carolina per capita is number 6 out of the 50. That means when it comes to per capita, this state is going to be benefiting in ways that nobody dreamed of before. Part of that infrastructure bill had to do with broadband. We were in Bamberg today about broadband. If y'all need broadband, it can be that same guy from Chattanooga. That's his job, to make sure you get this broadband. So if anybody had the kind of trouble I had in Bamberg this morning, when I couldn't call my office, but they ain't got no broadband. A phone came on, a message came on. No internet. I'm not making this up. That just happened to me. 19 miles from here, or 20, whatever, Bamberg is, I couldn't make a call. Kennedy, I asked her a question. She said, I can't call out. Here we are trying to run our office, and we're sitting in a county office. It was a county office in Bamberg, South Carolina, and none of us could make a call. None of us could get to the internet. That's what we're trying to cure with this infrastructure bill, and that's why we need to be number 6. In fact, I wasn't all that happy when I saw that. I said, who's number 1? We ought to be at least number 2. I'll accept 6, but I'm trying to get to number 1. Because we need you. We need us money. We need the attention. But most of all, we need you. We need you to make this happen. Just to tell you how important you are. Now, some of you may have heard me. I know Dr. Conyers has heard me make this statement. But several years ago, I was sitting in my office in Columbia long before I went to Congress. And I got a visit from Ron McNair. Some of you may know about Ron McNair from your studies. Ron McNair was the astronaut, the African-American astronaut that lost his life in the Challenger explosion. Ron came by my office while he was in Columbia, had just been interviewed by administrators at the University of South Carolina. And he had just been offered a professorship. This was going to be his last flight. He was preparing to retire from the astronaut corps and going to the University of South Carolina to be a professor. Ron came by that day, and as we chatted, I knew him because I knew his family. He'd grown up in the little tobacco town of Lake City, just a few miles from here. Ron said to me on that day, he said, you know, everywhere I go, people introduce me as this African-American astronaut with a PhD in physics from MIT. He said, no, that's not what made me successful. He said, I am where I am today because when I left that little town of Lake City, I went up to Greensboro, North Carolina, to North Carolina A&T. And it was those professors on their campus whose backgrounds and experiences allowed them to understand what it was like to grow up in the little tobacco town of Lake City, where I was not allowed to use the library. And when I got up there, they gave me the attention I needed in order to prepare myself to be where I am today. So had not been for those professors who understood who I was, who had similar experiences that I had, I never would have made it. That's what HBCUs are all about. That's what we want you to understand. Ron McNair never would have gotten to MIT were it not for North Carolina A&T. And that is a fact. I was talking to a gentleman one day after I told that story. A gentleman who I had spent time with, who I went to various conferences with, had been on the golf course with, knew him very well. All I knew about him was that he was one of solid North Carolina's most successful cardiologists. That's what I knew about Dr. Dowdy from little old East Oak, South Carolina. He heard me tell that story. He came up to me afterwards. He said, Jim, when I left little old East Oak, having just graduated from Weber High School, I also went to A&T. And when I got up there, I thought I knew something. I had to take remedial everything. But I went there and finished medical school up in Pittsburgh. That's what HBCUs were all about. This school, though I didn't go the defense way, this school has produced 23 general officers in the United States military. That's what HBCU is all about. And at the time that I got, now they've caught up since, by the time I got to Washington, South Carolina State had produced more African American general officers than all the service institutions put together. Or Allen, Claflin, or South Carolina State, Mars, or Clinton College. Whichever one of those 8 you may be in, we want you to have the same experiences that Dr. Dowdy and Dr. McNair have had. It can happen for you. And I want to close my comments today by thanking this institution. This institution still means a lot to me. I came here back in 1957. I met people on this campus. And the reason I told you about relationships, because when I got ready to run for Congress, around 32 years ago, I called my brother, who was on this campus with me, 2 years younger. I said, John, I'm going to run for Congress. And I need you to round up some of our classmates to help me put together the money that I need to run. He did. Called me to come to Washington. And I went to Washington and we sat down in a restaurant with those classmates from this campus. And they pulled out checkbooks. I don't know if they were millionaires or not. But they pulled out checkbooks. And at the end of the meeting, they said, you still got 2 hours before your flight leaves. We invited someone here to talk to you, and they brought in a poster. He said, now, you take this money, and we're going to give this money to this lady. Because we ain't going to lose this race. We don't know what you can do with this money if you take it back to the soccer block. But we're going to give it to this lady to do the polling that you need. They did. And when she finished the polling, she said to me, if you spend the last 3 weeks of your campaign in these 6 counties, and she named it, you're going to win this race, and you will win it without a runoff. There are 5 people running, and all the media was saying, it's going to be a runoff. Who is going to be in the runoff? Well, because of those acquaintances from this campus who had the foresight that they had been around Washington food and Washington politics a long time. They knew what poster to hire and brought her to that meeting, raised the money, let me feel it. Then they gave it to her. When the campaign was over, I had 56% by my margin. And the other 4 shared the rest. That's what building relationships are all about. From December 22nd, I'm going to be on the Hilton Head Island. And as it has been going on since 1972, those same people who were sitting around that table 32 years ago, who raised that money for me, they're going to be on that island with me. We have been spending Christmas together ever since we met on this campus back in 1957. That's what HBCUs and those kind of relationships will do. And keep trying. Don't you ever give up. And I guarantee you, success will await.
I have Dr. Adams here, who I'm a little height challenged, but tell us about today's program, if you will.
The BEC program focuses on business, environmental science, communications, and transportation. And the Institute itself centers around those focus areas to assist faculty, students, and the community in engaging in industry, government opportunities from a career standpoint as well as from a research standpoint. We have several programs that we are doing last year, and we have several programs planned for this year. This is the first one for this year, the Transportation Institute, that we're focusing on career opportunities for students and research opportunities.
Yes, you have students from all over. You have students from Benedict.
Right, from all of the HBCUs in South Carolina. So that includes Claflin, Benedict, Voorhees, Clinton, who have I forgotten? Morris, right. So this is the first event where I think we've had representatives from all of the 4-year 7 HBCUs in South Carolina. So from that standpoint, we think it's a historical event.
You're doing a fantastic job, Dr. Adams, and we hope we can continue to talk with you in the future and tell us more as your progress continues.
Thank you very much.